You and I on radio talking for the development, emancipation, whichever word that characterizes the conversations we will have on the show today. Yes, that is what we will do. You and I will have quality time, great time, maybe a long time, 3 hours thereabouts of back-to-back conversations. Long? I don't know, but it's going to be a swell time with you. Welcome to Hard Facts, 92.3 Nigeria Info.
This is Hard Facts.
A quick reminder, Sam Oracle Chinedu is not in the studio, and I'm holding fort until he comes back. Hopefully, God willing, until he comes back, we will have him bring all those wonderful conversations you like having with him back on radio. But for now, do bear with me as I bring you the big stories at 3 o'clock hour. The 4 o'clock hour, we'll look at a topical issue and continuation of a message from you. So I'm and he is, of course, the chairman, SDP, chairman, IPAC. But we'll be looking at that conversation from his office as chairman, SDP here in Rivers State. And then the 5 o'clock hour, still a continuation of a conversation from yesterday. You know, maybe the 4 o'clock is part A, the 5 o'clock will be part B. And we're looking at political structure in Rivers State for 20 months. There was the struggle for political structure, struggle for supremacy. But my guest yesterday, came up with a postulation saying that structure may have been demolished and a new one has been built. And then I got thinking early this morning, 2027 is around the corner. There is a fight against coalition, and new structures have to be built. And if those structures are not in favor of the president, I do not think the president would allow those structures to stand. So we'll look at all of that, and I will be talking with a communications expert, socio-political analyst, and we will be talking. So, like I said, a swell time. It's going to be a swell time, and you're going to enjoy your public holiday just tuning in to 92.3 Nigeria Info. Enough said. 17 minutes gone past 3. Time for us to dig in. Time for us to delve in and look at the big stories. And the first big story is a sad one. It's a sad one if you're related to the individual that is being talked about the most in Nigeria, in Africa, and in some parts of the world. Is on the trending list on social media here in Nigeria and parts of Africa. I'm talking about the late president or late former president, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari. Remember, he was head of state 1983 to 1985. He held all the positions, was in charge of the PTF at some point, very instrumental to the building of the refineries that we talked about or we talk about every now and then. He played some other crucial roles, and most importantly, he was elected into office in 2015 after a coalition was formed in 2013, February of 2013. And unfortunately, he died on Sunday. Unfortunately, because, we enjoy our time on earth. And although this is not our permanent residence, it still feels sad leaving loved ones behind when we pass away. And to think that our loved ones will cry and miss us and miss our presence, is worth being sad about. Now, the death of the former president has brought about mixed reactions. We've seen world leaders extol Buhari. We've seen leaders in Nigeria extol his quality. Some called him the anti-corruption, symbol. Others called him, someone who is well disciplined. Several adjectives and adverbs have been used to describe and characterize the person of the late former president and head of state. General, maybe I should add his military title at this point, Muhammadu Buhari. But you see, for others, it's a remembrance of, setting policies that did not go down well with them. For so many, it's a remembrance of certain things that affected them negatively, either directly or indirectly. By the way, currently the ceremony to lay him to rest is ongoing in Dara, his hometown in Katsina State, and I keep you updated as that event goes on. But I was saying, a lot of people, or some people think, oh no, he closed the border and brought about hardship. But, when they talk about policies, I wonder if they ever imagined that he probably could have done it at the time from a good place and was expecting, some very good results. And it's easy for us to sit here and judge those handling the affairs of the nation and say, oh, this person is incompetent, this person is, not. But then, because everybody will die, I want to use this opportunity to bring about the conversation and say, have you thought about what everybody will say about you when you die? Because not everybody will say good things about you. And so if everybody would not say good things about you, then can you be considerate? And that's the conversation. For those of you who think, some of his policies did not go down well with you, could you give him the benefit of the doubt, given that he has passed away? And, like we always say, posterity will judge, right? Posterity will judge. So why don't you just let posterity be the judge instead of making certain unworthy comments? Because I've seen a lot of unworthy comments online, and it's worth talking about why people go down that route when the person does not share similar opinions or ideologies or religion with them. I remember Okupe, who at some point was, in the Labour Party and then the Obedient Movement. And after a while, he decided to move to the APC. And when he died, there were so many nasty comments online. And it's becoming... And I'm not one of those people who would say, hey, you must say something good about the dead. No, I don't believe in that stuff. If someone hurt you, you should be able to say the person hurt you. But while you're saying that, can we do it in the most orderly fashion ever? Can we do it in the most... okay, so you're talking about his policies and you feel like the policies were bad. Can you do it and say, okay, the policies were bad, the policies were terrible. Maybe you could have done it like this, maybe you could have done it like that. But not making very unprintable comments, because the family of this individual may see some of those comments and their grief will even deepen. Anyways, I just thought I'd throw that one out there. But the main thing is today's a public holiday, and there's a public holiday in honor of the late Muhammadu Buhari, who's been laid to rest. I do believe his body has arrived Nigeria. I think it left London a few hours ago. I do believe it's landed, and in a short while he'll be laid to rest and given all the honors that he rightly deserves. But that's that for the president. And of course, I'm giving honor to whom honor is due. Give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, we're being told. But let's not move to the next big story. And my next big story is also one of the stories most talked about in the state, or even in Nigeria, I dare say. And it's popped up yesterday. Interesting. While I was reading the news, it popped up. So the conversation was that the River State High Court, presided by a certain judge who goes by the name Onyiri, had declared that the sole administrator, Ete Ibas, should not inaugurate a RSIEC board. And, a lot of people carried it on Facebook, news platforms carried it as well, radio stations, TV stations, websites carried that story. And then a few hours later, and shockingly as well, because of the prompt nature in responding to that, we saw the judiciary in the state, the judicial arm of River State, refute. They put out a...
For more talk,
they put out a refutal, and in that refutal, they said, hey, there was no such thing right? There was no such thing as giving an injunction halting the inauguration of RSIEC board members. And it got me thinking. For a while, let's say 2-3 months, almost especially ever since the warring political gladiators shook hands and said there is peace, political peace, we've not seen, the back and the forth that characterized politics in Rivers State for 20 months or thereabouts. And I'm wondering to what end, to what agenda the person who put out that report saying there was an injunction stopping, are they trying to stir the waters again? Are they trying to bring back all the arguments that characterize Rivers State for more than 20, or if not Nigeria, when it comes to Rivers State for more than 20 months, where you tune a television station and they're arguing, did they defect, did they not defect, did they lose their states automatically, did they not lose their states automatically? And now it was going to be that kind of a situation all over again. And I wonder what the intent was, why the person did what he did. Or could it be that, because I wasn't in court and I do not know anybody who was in court, so I'm probably just going to speculate right now. And it's speculation, it's not facts. But could it be that, they may have been something like that, and, there's a U-turn, the leadership of the High Court and the state is saying, you know what, I don't think that's something we want to play around, want to play with. Could that have been the case? Because I would like to think there were reporters, and the reporters may have just reported what they had. Or could it be, once again, that someone sponsored this thing and sponsored it so that it can stir a bit of commotion in Rivers State? But to what end? Because if such does happen, and we go back to arguments, and we go back to the back and the forth, and we hit the polity, they're just maybe giving the excuse for an extension of a state of emergency. They may just be some political agenda to it. I do not know. I'm speculating once again, but I think it's worthy a conversation on the big stories, because it happened yesterday, it trended today. Early this morning, some people, some news platforms were still reporting that, the court order was valid. I guess they had not seen the refute from the judicial arm here in the state. But let's now quickly take a look at my third big story. And I do hope that you're enjoying the big stories, and these are some of the biggest stories making the rounds here in Rivers State and Nigeria at large. But now let's take a quick look. I mean, I would have loved to talk about, Paul Biya, who is 92, 93, Cameroonian president, thinking of going for presidency yet again, I think for the 8th time. But anyways, I wish I could talk about it. I do not have enough time for that. But let's now touch on the third big story, which has got me really deep thinking. Yeah, I'm deep in thoughts right now. And it's because over the weekend, remember we stated yesterday that Nyesom Wike was not, according to my guest, I need to confirm that now, thinking about it, was not present in the state for the 25th celebration of the NDDC. I mean, that's what my guest said yesterday once again. And he was in Edo on Sunday. And speaking to Okpekbalo, who is the governor of Edo State, he said, do not probe, don't go that route. Don't probe your predecessor. Don't waste your time. I mean, I should be the one telling you to probe him because of what he did to me. I put my head out there for him, and he got second term, and he shot me. Don't go after him. Focus on development. Focus on building something that the people would love. Now, partially, see, this is why I'm deep in thought, because partially I do agree, especially with the part where he says, build what the people can relate with, bring about good governance to the people. I do agree. I mean, that's what government is for. I can imagine if we we're having good governance, irrespective of our political ideologies, irrespective of what parties or religion or ethnic nationality we belong to. What would have really mattered if we had it would have been, the dividends of good governance. So I agree with that statement. But what I don't understand is, and what I'm failing to understand is why, leaders should not be accountable, because that is what it is. And the reason I chose this, amongst all the other stories, for big stories today, I could have talked about Paul Biya and why Africa are stuck with, leaders who have stayed for too long and not really brought about the change Africa really desires. I could have talked about that. But I'm looking at accountability. And it looks like there is this unwritten rule. There is this gentleman's agreement where, politicians don't fight themselves, irrespective of whatever party they belong to. They can quarrel, they can haul insults and say, you are cultist, you are criminal, you did this. They never really get down to the real deal, which is, this is how much you stole. This is how much I think you collected. So they find a way to, and I'm not saying once again that Obaseki stole money. I'm just saying it would have been great if there was transparency and the people could see what the books were like during Obaseki's time. When you bring that conversation to Rivers State, we've got perpetual injunction. And nobody really gets to know. And you see, each governor who comes in has a way of trying to shield the next governor, because trust me, if you expose one, you're likely going to expose all. And I'm not saying they are guilty or they are, innocent until proven. I'm not even insinuating that they've stolen or they looted. No, you should know me by now. I don't like to do that. But I'm saying accountability would have been great. And this is not the first time. I think even during Gulag's time, there was a situation like this where Gulag was like, I'm not going to focus my corruption fight on going after people who were in government before me, who probably may have looted. I'm just going to go straight and, build. We saw Buhari coming to government saying he's going to go after people who stole. And indeed he went after. But nobody heard anything about it. Like Wike said a couple of days ago or weeks ago, where is the forensic audit of the NDDC? NDDC is 25 now. What have we gained in 25 years? Apart from roads that Canada respect yourself. Anyways, I'm going to hit the brakes there. I'm going to go to the phone lines now. I really want to get your thoughts. It's public holiday, so it's more relaxed, hard facts, I should say. It's still hard, but somewhat relaxed. So we just talk about some of these problems and some of these issues that have made the headlines. I'm really thinking, why can't we have accountability? And it's not witch hunting. Hey, you were governor for 8 years. Okay, as governor, I'm going to look at what... And that's probably why the incumbents find it difficult to even thrive. You see, Tinubu has been trying to hint on the fact that Buhari's administration left a bad economy, left a terrible economy, but he's not been out. There's been no outright statement to say, he only comes and says, I met a bankrupt nation, stuff like that, right? I met a bad economy, We want to know how bad it was. What really made it bad? Can we have data, stats, figures? Anyways, back to the end of the sea. What's up with that one? 08179230002, 08179230003, 08179230007. I think I've been in my troublemaker mode in a few days now. I don't know. I hope I've not caused any problem, right? Forgive me if I have. I don't know. I just speak freely these days. 08179230002, 08179230003, and 08179230007. These are the call numbers. Now let's try WhatsApp. If you've got message or you want to call via WhatsApp, the number is 0809-030-6416. I take it again, 0809-030-6416. Now let's start with the caller. and let's see or hear what he's got to say. 92.3 Nigeria Info. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kalada.
Welcome. Tell me your name and where are you calling in from? Happy holidays to you, by the way.
My name is Comrade Clinton. I'm calling from Buhari.
All right, Comrade Clinton, welcome.
I have a few things to say about the former president. I believe that even though his government was not the best that people wanted, even though he came on the mantra of anti-corruption, there are some landmark things that he did in his time that Nigerians are proud of. His government was the government that I benefited from for the first time. I benefited from one of the schemes, and that scheme aided me to complete my MSc program. That's the Empower scheme. I also got a loan or the grant of $450 from his scheme, one of the schemes. So I think that government is about the people, and it's about touching lives. President Buhari was about the Nigerian populace, and we are proud of that.
All right.
And today is laid to rest, and I pray that God should grant him eternal rest. On the issue of River State, thank you for bringing to the notice of the river population. The judiciary have debunked that injunction. So those that speculated it should now rest and know that peace has come to River State. Nobody should speculate again. We are coming together as one family, and the governor will return very soon. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for your thoughts there. 92.3 Nigeria Info. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Canada.
Very good afternoon to you. Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Chima Dike. I'm talking to you from Mokuta.
All right, Chima from Mokuta.
Let me carry two of your headline news together. The president, the late president, and the speculation that happened in River State. All these things, if I summarize them, I would say what we lack in this nation is discipline. And we actually lost it during the 1984 era that this president was mutiny. Because if you look at his whatever that methodology, he was trying to say how he can inculcate discipline back into us as human beings. A situation whereby that time we are not doing struggling to who struggle past all the survival of the fittest. At least when I was small, I saw when you go to my train market at that park there, we form a queue. You understand? You enter. And there was one time again, I went to mother to the market. If you fair, I still remember that girl now, although she's fair. She ate orange and threw on the ground. The market people had her to pick that orange. So if you see, because of this lack of discipline, that is why we don't have pride. That's why you see our leaders can keep money indiscriminately, and our children will be proud of it. You understand? Like, you know that your father was not afraid of NPCL. He was among them that walked. But you see how we want to, they float around us, and we want to associate with them. I don't know that they are children of criminals, so I want to know the other. Now, look at what happened now. Some group of person can just stay to peddle an information they know that it is false from the pit of hell. Not mention what is going to cost. You know, the false information is worse than a wildfire.
All right.
It could cause somebody to
all right.
what the person wants to do.
Chima Dike.
So what we lack is discipline.
All right.
So
Well,
so good. I remember my former president, President Buhari.
All right.
For this discipline,
all right. What we lack is discipline. Thank you. Let's hear another speaker. Chima from GRA. Welcome, Chima. Good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, Canada. Canada, the former president, in as much as I cannot mock the dead, and I don't encourage anybody to mock the dead. But if we look at the legacies of the former president, understand that indeed the man took Nigeria about 10 years backward. He doesn't have any economic idea. And today, this is where we are.
But Chima, can I have a conversation with you if you do not mind?
With you.
Could it be that Nigeria's trajectory was already in a bad place, and he so happened to come in a time because in his time as president, you know, what a lot of us have not factored in was that there was 2 global recessions. One occasioned by COVID-19, another occasioned by, I can't remember, I think the oil prices were thereabout. But there were two global recessions in his time, and he managed to steer us through those. There was also the talk that during Goodluck's time, the economy was already starting to dip. So when we look at all of these factors, and I'm not also blaming Goodluck, because Goodluck may have also inherited that same trajectory from the people before him. So is it fair to put all of that burden on Buhari, Tinubu, given the fact that this journey, Nigeria's, the problems have been there since 80s, the 70s, the 60s. I mean, I was speaking with my dad the other day, and he said the 60s and 70s were even way better.
Yes. Canada, if you look at during that 2015 election, Nigeria had a high hope at the emergence of the late president. You understand? And if you look at from that 2015 till now, Canada, can you be able to point out to one thing? The person that say he benefited from whatever, that must be a true political structure. You understand? So, I tell you, can you point to one thing that is on ground? Now, he ran to for medical treatment at right? So, in Nigeria, for 8 years, the former president could not build a hospital where he can be treated. And I also read statement from his media, Femi Adesina. Femi said, and I quote, that if the President Muhammadu Buhari, the late President Muhammadu Buhari, was treated in Nigeria, that have died before this time. Canada, I don't know if you read that statement.
Sorry, yeah.
Yes. So, all this, can you tell me that indeed the former president has done well? We have heard issues of
But you see, while you've made a good argument, I think you've yet again failed to factor in the global recessions I mentioned. But anyways, Chima, it's nice chatting with you. I already get the idea, and I think I need to take as many calls as possible so that I don't get carried away, gisting with you. I've got Gift from Yenegua. Gift, welcome. What is on your mind?
Good afternoon, Canada.
Yeah, good afternoon, Gift.
Let me continue to condole with my former president. Everybody knows my stand. He's not my person. God knows that. But at this point in time, anything sickness, anything death, I don't play politics with it. And that will be the last thing I will do as a person. I'm talking about my own opinion. So
No. I mean, if it's not your person, it's not politics. If you say, "Oh, I didn't like his policies during his lifetime as president," I mean, it's okay.
Canada, I understand where you're coming from. It is because you are very sincere. That is why you're sounding the way you're sounding, and I agree with you. But let me just move on because I understand a situation where your fellow human being, the man is alive, and you are telling me that man is dead. And you've been praying, even doing fasting and prayer. Is that what Jesus asked us to do? My brother, let me just forget, because we understand ourselves. They should continue because they will not die. Let me now address the issue of the fake rumor. You can imagine the length at which people out of hate and bitterness, these are the things we are talking about. Something that never happened in law courts. Even media, traditional media houses, took this news. I don't know if they don't have correspondence in the court. For them to even report this, I will not mention their names. Credible media stations announced it, and people ran with this information. Just like Shima was saying, it's like a wildfire. People want to set confusion. Anywhere there is peace, these crisis merchants will never rest. Their anger, their pain, it is because this man has decided to reconcile with his boss. That is their problem.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Gabe, thank you. Muriel from Okrika. Muriel, greetings to you. Welcome. Ali is not here. Ali is not here, Muriel. Muriel, Kalada is here.
Hello,
yes, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon again.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Kennedy.
Are you with us or are you with Ali?
Yeah, I'm here now.
All right, please, can we go ahead?
Kennedy, honestly, for once, this is a talk, and honestly, Kennedy, truthfully, it has been difficult for me. But we just have to, because we Africans were in the culture of respect the dead.
I'm not in that culture. I'm not saying that's what we should do now. But I'm saying, could we see things from different ideologies?
This is not what he said of the board. difficult for me to say it because of what I experienced for the first time in my life. But for the sake of forgiveness as Christians, I said, okay, may God bless the dead.
Muriel, if you die, God forbid, like we say, but if you die, I mean, everybody's going to die eventually. Do you think everybody will say good things about you? It's a yes or no. It's a yes or no.
It is not that you expect everybody to say good things about you. That is not even a human.
Okay.
But maybe just the breach of the things
that if people Muriel, if people see from different sides, is it not okay to have differences and still maintain our humanity? I think that's my conversation. Is it not okay for that?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying everybody should say good things. Oh, you're perfect about you. What I'm saying is, maybe vast majority of people that have come across your path, as a leader, so many persons say, well, okay, he did this. He made one or two mistakes. But okay, he did well in the overall. That's what I'm talking about, Kennedy. Nobody will just sing your praises. If you want everybody to say you're good 100%, that means you're not human at all. You are bound to make mistakes. But let people know that, in the overall, your intentions were pure and good. And in the process, you made one or two mistakes.
All right.
And our leaders that are always against accountability, you say you don't want nobody to account when you have left office. No one should take account. No one should take records. Do they know that stop taking an accounting is very important? It is because maybe citizens were not even demanding for it. They should know that it is not which office. It is the right thing that should be done. So nobody should think that it is which office you are doing. This is what to be done. Every leader that comes in should take account, and this is what we're experiencing with Tinubu. You will keep telling us that he meant this, he meant that, and he did not give us a perfect financial statement of what he meant on ground.
All right.
He will just give us a budget that will say we believe it. Well, he made a very porous system. He made this, he made that. Let us see the let us see the proper accounting of what transpired during the last regime, and let us see your focus. What you want to move on, what you want to move on with. Then you know, you're not just telling us do that.
All right,
proper accounting is not which often.
All right, Muriel says proper accounting. And Muriel just got me thinking. Obasanjo came in, 1999, was like, Nigeria's economy was in dire straits. We need debt forgiveness, and we need to do this, we need to do that. And, he poured into action, right? And then Yar'Adua came in, and Yar'Adua was like, the elections by the last administration was terrible. It seems like for every government that have come in since 1999 have had one or two or three negative things to talk about their predecessors, Obasanjo, maybe not Yar'Adua, apart from the election thing. Yar'Adua was not so much of a talkative. But then Goodluck came in and, he talked about how, the economy wasn't doing so well. Oil wasn't selling as it was during Obasanjo's time, and how we needed to save money at the time, and how there were lots of infrastructural deficits. And he talked about, Goodluck majored on infrastructural deficits and how previous leaders had failed in building infrastructure in Nigeria. And that's why he started with the rail building. He started with road constructions. The famous Lagos Ibadan road that has gobbled a lot of money. Goodluck left, and oh my goodness, Buhari's government was so loud when it came to blame game, or they blamed Jonathan's government every day. I'm exaggerating, but yeah, it felt like every day. And we've seen Tinubu do that the same. But in all of these, nobody ever came out to categorically say, this is where the government, this is what nobody brought reports, nobody brought records, stats, nobody brought data. And, it's funny how we would argue on radio or in our various communities and argue about these things, but nobody really has the detail as to what these governments have done since 1999. Let's read some messages before I go back to the phone line. Zawala is calling from Oyibo. Of course, I get to him in a bit. But Emi Fiaga says, late former President Buhari's administration recorded outstanding performance in infrastructures, oil and gas, housing, In fact, late Buhari outperformed the administrations of Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, and Jonathan. President Tinubu would have to work hard to surpass late Buhari in these sectors I mentioned. I wonder how some people would ask Nigerians to mention one thing late Buhari did when same people are traveling through the second Niger Bridge. Some people furnish out, could this be hate? Emi Fiaga with that one. This one says, when I remember what I have achieved during late Buhari's government, I wish he continued ruling this country. Then this hell we find ourselves in, this Tinubu's bad government. Say may he so rest in peace. Confidence and leveling from Otuzueche. But let's not listen to Wala, who's calling from Oigbo. And after that, Christian, also from Oigbo. Wala, welcome. Let's get your thoughts.
Okay, Teddy, good afternoon.
Welcome.
There is an adage in our land that is interpreted in English language. A dried leaf is a warning to the fresh leaf that one day they will die and they fall out. That statement has come through on the life of Buhari. That is the reason why we will always encourage our fellow human beings while we are alive, put things right with people, because one day we will pass on. That is what is awaiting for every individual, be righteous or sinner.
But Wala, we can't be right with everybody. Correct me if I'm wrong. We can't be at. I mean, I know the scripture says try and be at peace with all men. Even the scripture says try, because it's near impossible to be at peace with all men.
Okay, what I'm saying is that Buhari, if you begin to count his memories in our economy or in his leadership, when we are saying his leadership is good, his leadership brought development to Nigeria, we are all lying. We are all lying.
I mean, speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. I don't think. I mean, he continued the rail construction that was started by Jonathan. I don't think that is a lie.
It's true. We base percentage. When the percentage that did not benefit from your leadership.
No, but you've just see, while you're shifting the goalposts, you've just said he did not do anything and they are all lies, and now you're shifting the goalposts. But thank you nonetheless. Christian from Oigbo, welcome. It's good to have you. Let's get your thoughts.
Christian from Rumigbo. How are you, Canada?
Oh, Christian from Rumigbo, Oigbo, rhymes. Welcome. Welcome, Christian.
I think I want to quote the scripture.
Okay.
When a prostitute was being pursued and he ran to Christ, and Christ asked one question: he who have no sin should cast the first stone. And everybody looked at themselves and they ran away. I have a problem here because people keep thinking that our problem is caused by another person without knowing that it is lack of our striving. Buhari, if we were in Eldorado, why did we vote out Jonathan that we were in Eldorado?
I mean, I thought about this morning. I mean, Buhari came in because Nigerians voted for him in massive amounts.
And people relied on the fact that what he did in 1984, which even in that 84, some people were still crying that he was not doing well. And they gave him that mantle. Unfortunately, like I will say, he's a person, a leader, which many people did not understand and they didn't want to understand him. But I'm happy that he has left a good virtue in the footstep of time. At least his virtue is something that many will look at and say, yes, this was a honest leader. This was a man who has integrity. This was a man who cares for the people. And for our information, the empower something that somebody said is politically structured. My younger brother benefited from it. It was not because of politics. I still have the text message he sent to me that God should bless Buhari for giving them that farm top and 1 year subscription. It does not belong to any political party. So when we talk, sometimes we not just generalize things. And besides, for those of us who should understand the economy, Nigerian constitution, the economy of the country is on the doorstep of the vice president and not the president. He's the leader of the economic team of the country. Do we understand that? Right from the time of Obasanjo, Atiku was in charge, Goodluck Jonathan, Lamadi Sambo was in charge. In that of Buhari, it was Osibanjo. So when we begin to say he has nothing to do with economy, it is not his responsibility. It's the vice president, who is a professor also.
But the vice president answers to the president.
I know the box up on his table. But he's not the one in charge completely.
All right, Christian, thank you very much. Well argued. Different arguments on the show, and I do like the fact that we are having this conversation, because on social media it's so unruly, and I do not like to think that listeners of Nigeria Info are part of that fully. Where, and we may not agree. I mean, I remember, I think I was at another radio station when President Tinubu was in his first term, and I argued against some of the policies, and I looked at the merits and the demerits of some of the policies, and I closed the borders, and I understood he wanted to ensure local production, but I also argued that the architecture should have been there, the structure should have been there, so that we could have local production. But in its sense, on paper, that looked like a good policy, whether you agree or not, because Nigeria is flooded by foreign goods. And I mean, look at China. Do you think China is able to stand, shoulder to shoulder with America because they depend on imported goods? They have local production. That's why Trump is trying tariffing everywhere he finds it possible to tariff local production, and that's what Buhari was trying to achieve. And I'm not speaking for him because I did have my argument. I did have my arguments against a lot of his policies, but I'm saying, irrespective of the differences, irrespective of our political ideologies, irrespective of our religious affiliations, why can't we remember our humanity? And that's why it's my first big story on Hard Facts this afternoon. But let's read some messages. And this one says, Hector, your good governance would make your legacy worth remembering. So let every leader lead well. Let the people feel your absence positively. Poor leadership leads to resentment, making their death less impactful. Anyway, may the departed soul of the former president find rest in the bosom of his creator. From Hector. Let's come here. This one says, we like what we heard in the news yesterday or not. It said, whether we like what we heard in the news yesterday or not, there must have been a ruling like that. Like I used to say, what is ruling the world is 3 Gs: God, government, and gone. The government in power in Beaver State may have killed the ruling Imaotaka in Cho, but that's your speculation and postulation. But this one says, Melody Uniport, my people say that when the frog in front falls into a pit, the ones behind will take caution. It is important we talk about the dead the way they are towards humanity, so that the living will hear and have a reflection. We should be able to separate accountability from sympathy and sycophancy. For me, I would want people to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly side of me when I die. Those who are not empathic to the people when they are alive should not expect sympathy from the people when they are dead. Just like Tinubu, 90% of Buhari's policies cost me pains and losses. Saying otherwise will be unjust to canon of sober reflection and positive reinforcement. Melody. So Melody, yes, again, we're not saying don't talk about the bad. It's how you talk about the bad. 2 different things now. Yeah. We've talked about how the policies affected every one of us. And you've also talked about it. You've talked about it here via the text message. But you've not gone, the extreme path, calling names and doing all the sort of things that they do on social media. Let's come here. The death of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, should be a wake-up call for all citizens, especially those politicians that see themselves as gods and have the final say, Ezekiel Isaiah. And I think I agree with you. Nobody knows tomorrow. And finally, from Minima Priye, my condolences to the family of PNB. PNB came up with some policies and decisions to put the nation in a deep, and you can see the overlapping effect being compounded and propounded by PBAT with his obnoxious steps. It is high time those at the helm of affairs take governance seriously, and the citizens' welfare should be on the front burner. Thank you, Minima Priye. I've got to go, and, food for thought, like Christian asks, if the government before Buhari was so good, why did... Food for thought. I'll be right back.